welcome back. Welcome back to the next episode of Each Other's Soulmate.
Hey,
we are on season 1, episode 11, titled The Drought. And just to preface, this is my least favorite episode of the entire series of Sex and the City. But yes, once again, we are Each Other's Soulmate. We are a Sex and the City broadcast. We are two broads talking about our 4 favorite broads in New York City. But yes, again, this episode is titled The Drought. And we are talking about what they put in the caption of the show. We started off with what's called an accidental emission. You'll find out what that is once we get into it. But that's what I will be referring to this the entire time. Okay.
I know I'm lucky to just have you here for this episode. I almost had to do this one by myself, y'all. Like,
I legitimately was gonna 1, hire a stunt double, or 2, just have her fucking rocket stag. Like, you were going to prom alone on this one, babe, because I am not.
I could do another one. So
we all went together.
On that note,
but no, yeah, this episode talks about the drought, meaning a lot of just dry spells, wanting something, not being able to get it, supply and demand almost. So you will see that the title matches up to the episode very well. So with that, let's get into episode 11.
Yeah, so we have our introductory scene with Carrie and Mr. Big in bed. In the opening of this episode, we start with a montage of Carrie and Mr. Big cuddling in bed. I don't know if you were here on the scene back when Tumblr was a thing, but I remember seeing a gif of this scene all over Tumblr all the time. It's just these really intimate photos of them just cuddling in bed. And it's depicting that early stage of the relationship when you just don't leave the bed. You eat in the bed together, you watch movies, Netflix, and chill.
More importantly, it's that you're comfortable sleeping and actually sleeping next to your partner who's new. Because that can be very vulnerable, as we've learned. As I've gotten older, your sleep is vulnerable. It's scary. It gets more complicated as you get older. I need nose strips. Some people need CPAPs. I sleep with fucking masks on.
Yeah.
I sleep with fucking lavender lotion on my goddamn feet. I do all this stupid crazy shit to look decent in the morning.
I have to sleep with rain sounds, thunderstorm sounds, and what's the other one? Like beach waves, all in a mix together at the highest volume. It's,
Yeah. Sleep is fucking vital, okay? And to be able to do that next to someone comfortably, I feel like is kind of difficult. And that's where she's like, oh, we're not just like sleeping, we're not like fucking all night. Like we're actually sleeping next to the partner. We're enjoying that sleep. We're cuddling. We're moving. That's what she's kind of talking about in this intro. She's fine. They're getting to that next level of comfortability, and which is what we're talking about here in this next coming scene.
Yep. So one morning, after several weeks of this beautiful honeymoon kind of phase they're going through, Carrie, she's really relaxed, and it's first thing in the morning, and she lets out a little fart. There, I said it. I ripped the Band-Aid off. That's what happened.
I hate that word. I hate that word. I hate that word. I hate other words that I can't say but are associated with it. Okay, let's preface this. I am a nurse. I understand that. That is not the medical term for it, okay? I don't even like the medical term for it, but I like the caption of the video on HBO Max. They literally title it. They say, Carrie has an accidental emission. And I was like, that is the perfect way of describing that, because with some class, it's like filthy to me. I know, it's fucked up. I know I say the raunchiest shit. I talk about the worst things my jokes are terrible,
dude,
but I
you
cannot
literally
say that
will
word.
watch a surgery while you're eating like barbecue, and this is the thing.
That has nothing to do with anything. It's separate.
You
It's
know,
just I don't know what it is, dude. I don't know what it is, but like I hate that word. Girls don't do it.
come on.
Girls don't. I don't. I'm an alien. I don't do that.
Okay.
Blech.
Well, Carrie did.
Carrie did because
In
she's
front of
fucking
Big.
gross. It's because she's fucking gross.
And he laughs. Like, straight up. He starts laughing. He's like, "Was that you?" And she's so mortified. She hides under the bed. She throws the covers under her head like a freaking child. And he just keeps laughing. And he's like, "I think it's worse under there." And she just says, "Shut up. And he runs
and she books it out of there.
She runs out of the room. She freaks out. She puts her clothes on and is out the door in less than like 3 minutes. You know, he's literally calling at her. He's like, "Wait, like, don't you want some coffee?" She's
Where are you
out.
going?
She ghosted him that morning, basically. Yeah, no, she just got out of there. And you know, next scene we have her back at her apartment, and she's like saying, "I didn't call him the rest of the day. I tried to throw myself into work." And then every time she like stopped for even a moment, she just like replayed the fart in her head. Like she could hear it over and over
And you
again.
hear it.
Yeah, and you hear it.
You hear it in the episode.
Oh my god, what have I done?
Hold on. Just for the sake of the fucking episode, I'm gonna pull it up.
God.
I'm gonna pull it up so you can hear it because it's terrible. I hate it.
It's such a wild moment, like to think that she was so mortified over something so natural, you know? But
Rightfully so.
you know,
Are you fucking kidding
there's
me?
multiple ways to look at this for sure, but I
have never in my 28 years of life, I am a year older as of this episode officially. I have never willingly done that in front of a partner, okay? Because I think I have the same belief system as Carrie, I guess, because I'm just like, oh God, that's gross. They're never gonna see me as like sexy. They're never gonna see me as attractive anymore. Like it, and I understand it's natural. They say that it's healthier if you do that stuff around your partner. I think that's horseshit and that's fucking propaganda from
who?
I don't know.
Who would be using that? What to what?
Nasty bitches.
Okay.
That's
okay.
who. I'm just kidding. Anyway, I think if you're comfortable with your partner enough to do that, wonderful. Fantastic. Good for you. Honestly, props. I am not, I can't say it. Like, I had friends previously who were like, oh, I do everything in front of my boyfriend. I'm like, he probably hates you.
Girl, shut the fuck up. Oh my god.
Like, I don't think he hates you, but I don't also think he appreciates your willingness to do those things around him 24/7. Let's be real.
Okay.
Because no one appreciates that. I don't want to hear, I don't need to hear every single fucking bodily function from you. I don't need that. I don't need it all. Okay? I understand it, but I don't need to witness it. All right? This isn't a fucking wedding. You don't need a fucking witness. You don't no. I'm very passionate this episode because I fucking hate it. So I'm not going to really give a lot of great commentary this one because it's gross. And I may be immature. I get that. If I am, I don't give a fuck.
Speaking of not giving a fuck, the next day, Carrie goes and has dinner with Mr. Big, and she just pretends like the thing didn't even happen. Like, just complete and utter denial. They are at Mr. Big's apartment, and they are eating dinner. They're having Chinese food together, and Mr. Big asks her to grab some of the duck sauce from across the kitchen island for him. And when she goes to grab the duck sauce, he slips a whoopee cushion under her seat. And so she sits and does the noise. And they just
Dude, we don't need to hear the fucking sound effects.
Oh my god, my lips. I won't do it again. Okay. But I like this quote that she mentions at this point. She says, "There's a moment in every relationship where romance gives way to reality." And I think that's such a lovely quote and really kind of describes that moment in time when you're no longer just courting, you're actually truly getting to know each other. And that's really special, and like, what does that mean for different people? Anyways, yeah, no. So next day, Karen and Miranda are getting their nails done together. And, at this point, it's been, oh, I skipped a scene. Sorry. Yeah.
Did you?
So let me
What?
let me take a step back. So after the dinner that they had with the Chinese food and the whoopee cushion,
Oh.
so that night in bed, Carrie's spending the night with Mr. Big. She's wearing lingerie. She comes into the room. She starts to nibble on Mr. Big's ear. But then he yawns and he tells her he's exhausted and he rolls over and just goes to sleep. And she's upset. She says that this is the first time that they slept together without having sex. And that,
Which I probably doubt.
well, they're still pretty new in their relationship at this point, right? And they're just getting to that point where they're sleeping together regularly, like going to sleep in bed.
Yeah.
So I imagine this is still like a very routine part of their relationship. It's like every single time until tonight, you know? And she came in full throttle. She had her hair looking beautiful. She had her makeup on. She had like this beautiful, I think it was like a black lingerie set. And he was just, I'm tired. I'm going to sleep. Which is like, want,
Yeah.
And so,
Okay, but fair.
huh?
I said okay, but fair also.
True. It's.
She just thought coincidentally, she was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, I would too. I would absolutely have the same thought process.
And to be fair, as somebody who believes that it was just a human thing that she did, I would have thought the same thing, to be honest. Like, that seemed like convenient timing. But no, yeah, next day, so back to where I was, Carrie and Miranda are getting their nails done together. And at this point, Carrie tells Miranda it's been 3 sleepovers now. And so this whole fart situation happened, and then now they're not sleeping together 3 times in a row when it had been a regular part of their routine otherwise. That is a red flag to me, at least. And Miranda hits her back with the, "I haven't had sex in 3 months. Ouch."
Your dramatic pause. I'm like, girl, I've been way longer.
Like, 3 months is a long time. Like, it's.
Try 9.
Okay, but you agree it's a long time, right? Like, that's.
It is a long time, but you get used to it eventually.
Yeah, well, Miranda's not getting used to it at this point. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, so like the perfect term for this now that we have, that they, well, I mean, this word was around, but it'd be fucking feral.
Yeah.
Like I describe myself as feral quite frequently in these situations, but Miranda is feral this episode.
And Carrie's just like, "Oh crap, I didn't even know. Where have I been?" And Miranda's like,
she's like, "Could you please get that horrified look off your face?" When she told her.
And she's like, "Where have I been?" She's like, "You've been out having sex, dude. I've been here not having any, thus the drought." And oh my god, so
that's the drought.
I feel like this scene with them at the nail salon is the first time in the series that you truly get a taste of like Carrie's self-centeredness. Because then like Carrie talks about how difficult it is for her to not have had sex 3 nights in a row, and Miranda hits her with the try 3 months. And then Carrie hits her back with the, it means so much more to, it means so much more to, or I'm sorry, it's different because not doing it when you're with somebody means so much more than not doing it when you're not with somebody. So basically, if you're in a relationship not having sex, it means more than when you're not in a relationship not having sex.
Okay, side note, your note here says bad friend vibes in all caps.
That is bad.
We are so opposite. It's hilarious. I watched the episode 3 times over today and I couldn't agree with Carrie more. I was like, that's a fair point.
You know,
We're completely torn.
we really are.
It's
But,
true.
like, I feel like that
It's
makes
true.
this what it is because we get both sides of that argument. So, like,
It's completely
like,
true.
where are you coming from?
Okay, so you're in a relationship. You're in a committed relationship with someone, and they're all of a sudden dropping off the sexual nature of your relationship. That's a big concern, okay? You being single, just not getting fucked, like, try harder. It's out there. Let's be real. Let's be real.
At the same time, you could try harder too. You're in a committed relationship. That means being able to communicate with your partner about what's going on in that committed relationship.
Correct, but that's what I'm saying is it's going to open it up for conflict. It's going to make bigger issues. The severity is bigger when you're in a relationship compared to not having sex when you're single. It's completely different.
The severity part as far as the dynamics of the emotions involved between the two people within the committed relationship. But what about the desperation of the other person who is by themselves out there in the trenches, just like losing confidence left and right because nothing is biting? It's not happening.
Truthfully, I feel like it's a separate issue. Yeah, but I think it's a completely separate issue. However, Carrie has justification in that. I do think that, like, on the grand scheme of things, that's a bigger issue. I'd be like, because, like, if I put myself in Miranda's shoes, because I'm like a single bitch, you know, and if you were like, hey, we haven't fucked and it's been this and this and that, I'd be like, yo, dog, what's going on? It's different when you're in a relationship. You're like, hold on, pause. You're with someone. They want to be with you. What's going on? This is a little weird. You know, for me, I'm just like, okay, I'm hitting a dry spell just because whatever reason, you know, because same. But, like, you know, I saw every time I watched it today, I literally was like, truth. Like, that's how I felt. That's why it's so funny. So seeing your little comments, you're like, best friend vibes. I'm like, well, I guess I know where I stand.
Well, I just feel like she's so dismissive about it. Because she even tells her, like, calm down. It's just been, like, overlaxed. You're just in a dry spell. And it's like,
yeah.
Anyways, yeah.
I get that. It's one thing to be dismissive over the issue, but Carrie has some substance in the statement about relationships v single.
Okay, I can see that.
That's how I felt. Yeah.
But yeah, no, like, Carrie takes this moment to tell Miranda about the fart, and Miranda's just like, and this is one of those moments where I'm like, yeah, I'm a Miranda right there. Like, that would be my response. And Carrie's like, and we're no longer having sex, and he thinks of me as one of the boys, and I'm gonna have to move to another city where the shame of this just won't follow me. And like, Miranda's like, you're human. And Carrie's like, I don't want him to know that. Like,
exactly.
She says, like, he's this perfect guy, and I'm the girl who farts.
I think she's putting too much emphasis on big, like, but we all know that. We all know that by now. If you haven't gotten that, like, yeah, she, like, fucking idolizes Big when truthfully, yeah, he's a great, you know, he's a good guy, financially stable, good, attractive, rich, whatever.
Yeah, but, like, come on, dude. Like,
but, like, let's not fucking make him, like,
yeah.
what's it even called?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, chill out, you know? So there's some justification there. But Carrie, you know, we're really starting to see in this episode specifically, like, the true desperation of Carrie in this relationship. This is where, for me, I feel like it really fucking peaks, or it starts. Because let me tell you, this episode and next episode gets bad. Actually, this episode should have a trigger warning for cringe, like we said last episode, because towards the end here, this is not a pretty scene. But next episode, it doesn't get any better for a hot minute.
No, but that's where character development comes in. So, but yeah, no, she says he's perfect. She's the girl who farts, and this is why they're not having sex. And Carrie asks Miranda, is it normal to be in the same bed together and not have sex? And Miranda says, well, depends on what's normal for you. Which, you know, what is normal? And in this next scene, we have our random people interview, first
interview style,
which we love. And we have a few people's different perspective on how often normal is. And by that,
for sex.
Yeah, if you need me to spell it out
with your partner.
How often is it normal to have sex? First dude, he looks like a finance guy in like his mid-30s or so. And he's like, I have to masturbate 3 times a day just to make it through. Some people have coffee breaks. I take jerk off breaks.
Hold up. Pause. Right here, real quick. Martin Scorsese probably fucking stole this line and put it in Wolf of Wall Street. I'm just kidding. I'm not accusing him. He's one of my fucking favorite things ever. But they don't directly reference Sex in the City, but they talk about this in Wolf of Wall Street. That have you seen it? You haven't? Okay, so there's a scene between Leonardo DiCaprio and Matthew McConaughey, and like Matthew McConaughey is the boss, and it's Leonardo DiCaprio's first day on Wall Street. And then he's like, how many times you jerk off? And he's like, I don't know, like maybe like once a day. And he's like, those are rookie numbers. You need to pump those numbers up. He's like, I do it like before this, during lunch, blah, blah, blah. He's like, you got to keep that shit going. Like he has one of the coolest monologues of all time. It's one of my favorite monologues about like jerking off and just like him working in Wall Street doing blow to keep things fucking sane. So anyway, it's the same thing they talk about, you know. So I just think it's really funny. But yeah, so I'm like, he could have ripped this off and no one would have ever known. But I do, because I enjoy both Sex and the City and Wolf of Wall Street. It is one of my favorite movies.
It really is.
Anyway, I just loved that. I loved that, like, almost the exact same thing. So.
Love it.
Jerk off breaks. Let's be real though, there's some validity to that. If you can sneak that shit in during your day, if it keeps you right, keeps you tight,
also keeps you
go for it.
Go for it, dude. Like, I will say sometimes that has been the thing that made the difference. 'Cause, goddamn.
We talked about that in my friend's podcast.
Oh, yeah.
They were like, how many of us have jerked off at work? And we're all all four of us are like, yep.
Oh my gosh. Man. You know what? I'll add that to my bucket list. I need to get on that level. Just kidding.
Love that. That's your bucket list for the year.
Oh my gosh.
We're reporting back in a couple episodes. I'm going to check in with you.
Oh my gosh. And then we have this next lady. She's also probably in her mid-30s. And she's here like, they say the average 33-year-old woman has sex 3.5 times a week. I'd like to know who that woman is. Like,
right?
Yeah,
We are talking New York City here, though. We're talking New York City in the 90s. We're talking extreme nightlife, you know. So I can see why in that city would probably be easily more accessible to doing that. I can definitely see that.
Because like, we literally have apps now for that.
I feel like it's so much harder with the apps.
So
Swipe. Yeah, but I mean, to actually like meet up with someone, I feel like it's like a feat to get there, because you're like, okay, is this person, one, gonna murder me? Two, like, are they gonna give me something? Three, am I gonna get like, are they seeing someone and I'm gonna get caught in their house? And like, there's so many things you think of now in these scenarios when it comes to like casual sex, where it's almost like it takes all of the buildup and all of the allure of like casual sex away, which is like what we talk about. Like, I feel like online dating kind of ruined shit. Like, these people, like in the show and back then, were like, I'm gonna go to a bar and meet someone the good old fashioned way. I met someone in a coffee shop. Now we're fucking. You know, it's not always like that now. And like this whole online, it just makes it, it can make it weird very fast. You know, like, it's strange. It's just, ugh. I'm so over the dating apps. I'm so over
I
it.
could definitely do that.
But yeah. It's just, I mean, if it works for you, great. If that's something that like works for you and that's solid and you're like, oh, Hinge is my best friend, I get laid all the time. Cool. I don't have the same success because I also don't want to be like, hey, I'm just going to hook up with someone tonight, you know?
You could if you wanted to.
I could if I wanted to. I just don't.
Because you don't want to. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Man. Oh yeah, next guy is older and balding, and he says,
I love this one.
My wife and I haven't had sex since the baby was born. The baby's applying to Yale next fall. Yeah,
18 years. You're telling me you and your wife had not had sex for 18 years? Your marriage has become sexless.
Wow.
I would be divorced within like a year.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Like, especially
maybe not a year, maybe 2.
Like, God, at the 10-year mark, it wasn't enough.
No, like someone's cheating.
Heads down there at that point. Like, what the hell?
I mean, there's always like that whole like funny trope of it, like, oh, you get like, we talk about it, like, we get married and we just don't have sex anymore, haha, hee hee, and I'm like, that's not what this is about, you know. Also, and like, I understand,
that's tragic,
right? But I do understand when people have children, it's probably also you have less time to yourselves. Yeah. So I do understand that, and I'm not saying that it's wrong to lean off sex, but you know, like, you still gotta do it unless your views are truly, if you're having sex just to procreate and those are your only views, I can't get in the way with that. Okay. Yeah. That's great. I'm glad if that works for you, but we're, at the end of the day, humans are fucking animals, and I feel like sex shouldn't just be for reproduction. Nope. At least that's my view. If it's your view, cool, do it. That's your life. But like, yeah, someone's suffering in the process of that. Let's be real. Unless you're asexual, then like, kudos to you. Yeah. So
kudos for the asexuals.
Hell yeah. That must be an interesting life. I've always been very curious to talk to people who are ace. I think I've maybe met one person. But I've like, I don't think I went into like an in-depth conversation. So, but I'm actually really curious if anyone happens to be listening who's asexual, who's willing to talk about that. I would love to discuss that with you, because I've never really picked the brain of someone who is. So, out of pure curiosity,
that would be really cool. Like, interview them stuff and just kind of talk about.
Yeah. Genuinely curious.
Yeah, I would be very much down for that. I second.
Yeah.
Whoever down, please let us know. Oh, and then the last person to interview, she's so cute. So like, one of the nail techs that was doing Miranda and Carrie's nails while they were talking, she's the last one in this, and she's like, how often do you have sex? She's like, one time a day, but on a very special day, 2 times. I was just like, you go, girl. Like,
you getting dick down on the daily.
Go get advice from her. Like, she obviously.
No, seriously, she's doing something right. Whatever nail tech is doing, she's doing something right. She's getting dick down on the daily, and on a good day, twice.
And she's doing nails in New York City. Like, she must be doing pretty okay for herself too. Like, come on.
I was about to make a really bad joke. Let's go to the next scene before I get canceled. Okay, so Samantha's at yoga.
So the next scene, we have Samantha and Carrie at yoga. And just a little insignificant side note, just little detail. You'll notice that Carrie goes to a lot of these classes with her friends. It's like whether it's tap dancing or yoga or goddess dancing, whatever. And she doesn't actually participate. She'll just kind of lay around.
She just kind of flops around.
She doesn't actually do the class. She just talks to her friend the whole time and is told to shut up multiple times. And this is a constant theme, you know, but whatever, right? Anyways, yeah, no, Samantha chimes into the whole conversation of what is normal as far as having sex. And Samantha has a really cool point, or a really interesting point. She says, normal is the halfway point between what you want and what you can get.
That's a great perspective of like normalcy.
Yeah. That I feel like that's averaging it out. You know, like finding that middle ground.
That's very true. Look at her being so introspective.
She's so smart. And then this, right afterwards, the yoga instructor, he tells everybody to do the downward facing dog. And Samantha says woof as she does it and tells Carrie.
Tell me that's not me.
Seriously. And then in front of the instructor tells Carrie how much she like wants the instructor, which I just love that energy. It's so funny.
Been there. Not with the yoga instructor.
Samantha about the fart. And Samantha just says like, ooh, like she makes a face.
Wait. We need to do the setup of the scene way better because it is so much funnier the way she delivers that. Because Carrie says, say it. She just says, I
farted.
Yes. And then Samantha goes, move the mat away.
That's true.
I'm like, how are we going to forget that comedic genius? Like, that's like the funniest scene to me. She's just like, she makes this face.
Shit you.
Move your mat away. Yeah, I'm like, ugh. That's happened to me before. Not at yoga, but in my vehicle. From a female friend. She's like, I have to. I'm like, you're getting out on 410. I'm dropping you off on the fucking frontage road. Don't you dare do that in my vehicle.
Oh my god. I would rather explode like a balloon than fart in your car.
I'm like, you better put down, like, the fact that when you were announcing it is wild. I'm like, it was mortifying. I'm like, I literally, like, I wish I had an ejecto seat because you would have been fucking like dust in the wind at that point. How dare you? Like, we were also 5 minutes away from our destination. I'm like, you can't wait to go to the fucking bathroom like a lady.
That's what you said.
Yes. Like a fucking lady. You're gonna do that in my vehicle? My car? My 20 Toyota Corolla? It's not, I don't have a fucking G-Wagon. I don't have space galore for air to circulate correctly, okay? Luckily, it's a 4-door. If it was a 2-door, that bitch would have been dead. I would have fucking took her ass out. The audacity.
Fucking audacity.
Gross. Ugh. Hey.
So after Carrie moves her mat away.
She does it. Oh, this was cute too. She like smacks her. She's like, not now. Yeah. Like, it was, I love that whole scene. Is cute though.
Yeah, no, Samantha's like, yeah, I think that does mean there's trouble. She says that sex is a barometer for what's happening in the relationship. And Carrie tells Samantha about the fart. And, you know, if you notice something too, the way that Carrie introduces this situation to all of her friends is completely different. You know, with Miranda, she's like, I'm not human, you know, and then here with Samantha, she's like, I am human, it happens, You know, she kind of flips over on that because Samantha's coming at her with a, no, honey, you're a woman and men don't like women to be human. And then that takes us into a whole other conversation where Samantha says, you know, we aren't supposed to fart, douche, use tampons, or have hair in places that we shouldn't. Samantha says,
yeah, she knows what's up.
She says that one time a guy broke up with her for missing a bikini wax.
That's fucking ridiculous. I don't condone that whatsoever. I think, like, come on. That's ridiculous. You got issues if you're like that. But there is validity into the whole, I do think there's some, like, men that are like, absolutely not. Like, absolutely not. You know, I'm not going to tolerate that for my partner.
The opposite. They're like, absolutely, the hairier the better. Like, they just want to jungle.
Let me pause because I don't want to come off like a hypocrite because I burp bad. Well, we're halfway through the episode. Burping to me is acceptable because I feel like that's the correct way. The other way is weird. I burp terribly, and that's genetic. I get that from my mother, but I have terrible burps. They're loud. They just, like, I have to, like, I can't, like, I have to burp. And almost every relationship, I talk about this in the other podcast too. Every relationship I've been in, I burp, and they're always just like, nice. Like 10 out of 10. And I'm just like, that's it. That's the only thing I do. That's the only fucking thing I do. I try not to vomit. I try not to, like, you can't hear me pee. Like, nothing, but, like, literally, like, I can't, like, no. You can't even hear me pee. Like, I'm throwing down paper towel. I'm putting on the fucking vent. Like, you're not hearing anything. We ain't doing that. I was in a relationship for 10 years in totality, like, on and off. Fucker still barely probably scratched the surface on, like, bodily functions there. Wow. So, except for burping. But yeah, I don't want to come off like a hypocritical bitch because I do. That's the only bodily function I have.
That's it. Carrie uses what Samantha tells her as proof of the fact that her relationship is over. This is just, it has curdled.
Which is a little extreme.
Bit, you know, Samantha is basically saying, like, all of this, but Samantha tells Carrie to calm down, kind of, and is like, just go fuck his brains out. He'll forget all about it. And
yeah, like, exactly.
Like, they laughed about it. I don't get why she's still freaking out so bad. Probably just because they're not having sex, but she could talk to him, but she won't, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so the yoga instructor tells everybody to get into goddess pose. And then he stands over Samantha when she gets into goddess pose and has his hands on the, like, sides of her abdominal area. And, like, telling her to breathe in and out. And it's, like, going up and down with her breaths. And Samantha just leans up and asks if he wants to go get coffee sometime, which he does. So next scene, you know, they have their coffee together, and he basically leads with telling Samantha that he practices brahmacharya. I probably totally butchered that. Just forget that I even said it. Basically, tantric celibacy. He gave up sex 3 years ago. 3 years.
3 years.
And he tells her that he tells her about his past, and he kind of leads into the idea that he was a sex addict, that he would have sex morning, noon, and night and would still need more. He just could never have enough sex. And Samantha's there like, why are you being so mean to me and telling me this? Like, she wants that so bad. But he tells her that what he's practicing now is better than sex. And she just can't believe that. She's like, nothing's better than sex. And he compares it to the sexual arousal that comes with foreplay. So he tells her to imagine a 3-year-long foreplay where all of that sexual energy is coursing through your body and just recycles and comes back around. And he tells her the only thing hotter than having sex is not having sex. Which I can agree with. Like, I do think that there's some truth to this. You're telling me that the lead up to having sex with somebody is, like, not hot when you're, like, getting...
Absolutely.
And you're, like
foreplay
bills?
is hot. Anticipation is hot. What he's saying is that the truth that the thing that is hotter than sex is not having it at all. That's no, because there's no end product there. You're okay. I guess there's some spiritual, energetic fucking breakthrough that's probably just in your fucking head because you drink too much kombucha. No. If you fill your life with fucking patchouli, kombucha, and fucking downward dog, yeah, maybe. But I have a fucking life and I need to get fucked. Honesty hour. Who cares?
No, I love it. It's so funny. But yeah, so Samantha takes on this idea and starts to play around with it and is like, I'll try it. You know, she's a trisexual. She'll try anything once. And so she's kind of swishing this around her mouth, trying to see how she feels about it. And then next scene, we have Charlotte and Carrie at dinner. Carrie is meeting Charlotte's new man. So Carrie, before Charlotte's new man gets there, Carrie tries to tell Charlotte about the fart. She doesn't even get the words out. I gotta say, I feel Carrie in this scene. I feel like this is what it would feel like talking to you about it if I was Carrie. She can't even get the words out. So she just tells Charlotte she doesn't know why, but she tells her that they haven't had sex in a little while. That's all that Charlotte knows. And Charlotte just says, you know, people put too much emphasis on sex. It's not the most important thing in a relationship. And is that true? Is sex the most important thing in a relationship?
It's not the most important thing, but it is a very important thing if that's two people who are agreeing to have sex with each other.
For two people who are not asexual.
Correct.
And Carrie mentions that the guy that she's seeing, who she really likes, they've been seeing each other for a little while, and he's sweet and respects her boundaries. They're not having sex. You know, she likes to wait in her relationship. She wants it to be special, and she appreciates that he's waiting, and she thinks it's sweet. When he arrives there, they get a little surprised though. They find out Carrie dated this guy. So he shows up and then gets a notification from his pager. He has to leave, and when he goes to the phone to go talk to his work, Charlotte starts pumping Carrie for information. You know, when did y'all date? Was it serious? And she asks, why did you break up? And Carrie says he's a sex maniac. And Charlotte is kind of thrown by this, considering, you know, what she said about him, but she's more so touched. She's very much touched by the fact that he put away his libido for her. He wants to have sex with her so bad, but doesn't because he respects her boundaries. So she appreciates that.
So she thought.
And so, you know, next scene, we have Charlotte and her new man in the taxi on the, you know, going home, and she tells him how much she appreciates his patience and that the wait is going to be worth it. And she tells the cab driver, actually, there's only going to be one stop.
Wait, one stop. That's like the sexiest thing I've ever heard Charlotte say. And that's like that's the most forward she could ever be.
That's literally her being like, take it off, let's do it.
Yeah.
And next scene, they're in bed, and he pulls away, and he tells her to stop and saying, it's not you, it's me. And Charlotte's like, I know it's me. Carrie told me that you like sex a lot. She even used the word maniac. And he says, that was before Prozac. So he used to suffer with mood swings, but when he got on Prozac, he says it basically takes the air out of his tires. He can't get erect and he can't stay hard. And Charlotte's like, oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. And He's like, I'm not worried. He's like, I'm not, with a smile. He's completely unbothered. He's just right.
Yeah, because he's on
Yeah.
SSRIs.
And then next scene, we have a flash, and Carrie's at home, and she is walking around her apartment thinking about this whole situation, and then she looks out her window and she sees her neighbors fucking. And it's really hot. Like, this, they're going at it, and she just, without even breaking her stare from them fucking, she grabs the phone and calls Miss Big and asks if she can come over, and then she hangs up and goes to go get ready. So
yeah.
she's like, she's so turned on in that moment, she forgets that she's anxious about seeing him. She wants to go fuck. Like, it's been probably like almost a week at this point. She's ready.
Yeah.
And then next scene, we have a flash of Samantha and the yoga instructor. So the yoga instructor is including Samantha on one of his rituals. So this whole tantric celibacy ritual situation, he's reading from these books. They're sitting in front of one another, meditating with it. It's like yoga mixed with celibacy. It's interesting. You know, if you're familiar with like tantric practices, it's very much spiritual with your body, just, you know, and I feel like this practice can really be compared to edging, you know?
Yeah.
And
that's what it reminded me of. It's like it's almost like
a more
edging.
modern term that I've heard that really applies to this.
Edging's stupid.
Obviously, there's ways to think about it, and I'm sure more.
I know people who love it, and I'm just like, to be fair, I wouldn't call it edging. Like, what I prefer in bed, but I hold off on purpose, and not because of like the orgasmic value, just because I want sex to last longer. Like, it has nothing to do with the end product of like the orgasm. Like, they're all great. Like, mine are down to a science. However, I enjoy the act of sex. I like the intimacy. I like the action. I like the feeling. Yeah. It's fun. It's great. I'm like, let's hold it off. Let's keep it longer.
Playing around with that too. Building the anticipation is a lot of fun, and enjoying yourself, having fun with it, not just being so get in and get out, like just nut and it's over.
Yeah.
You know, just that bonding is really nice.
Yeah, exactly. It's the intimacy value that I really appreciate.
And it's so funny because they're there with each other, Samantha and her yoga instructor, and she looks down and she's like, "You have an erection." He's like, "I know," and she's like, "You're hard," and he's like, "It'll go down." Can't focus on anything else. She just wants to have sex so bad with this guy, and he won't. He just keeps reading from his book, and they're doing the meditation, and that's what they're doing. So after that little drought, we have Carrie and Mr. Big, and okay, so to kind of preface this, just to set the scene. So Mr. Big is at home watching a pay-per-view fight. I don't know if that's still a modern term. Is that pay-per-view?
Yes, there's still pay-per-view. Like, fights, typically you have to pay for them.
Watch this fight, and it's typically
he's watching boxing
match,
too.
You know, and Carrie and almost basically invited herself. They haven't really talked for a few days, and she basically invited herself over, and she didn't give him much of any context either. She was just like, "Can I come over?" "Yeah, cool, I'm on my way." But she's coming with this idea of like, "I'm gonna go fuck his brains out." Like, she's ready. She comes in her secret weapon skirt and a crop top, her hair done, her makeup done. She's ready to fuck. And Mr. Big opens the door, and you can see the look on his face. He's confused. He's like he looks at her outfit and is confused as to why she's so dressed up. As she throws her arms around him and throws this huge kiss on his face, and he looks confused then too. And It's just not. They're not on the same.
This is a cringe warning.
This
is trigger warning, embarrassment. Yeah. Trigger warning, cringe.
It's hard to even say it, dude. So he's watching the fight, and she keeps on trying to initiate sex with him, and he is so not about it. He keeps on, he even shoves her head to the side to get a better view of the television.
Yeah, so she's like coming into the side. She's like kissing on the neck, whatever, and he's all like, "Hey, I'm watching the fight," you know, and then she backs off a little, and then goes for it again, and like she's like steadily trying to hop on his lap. So she like straddles him, gets on, and this is where he's like trying to literally look at the TV, moving her fucking head around like a goddamn bobblehead, and he's like trying to look at this fight. He's like, "What are you doing?"
He like
and then
lifts her up and throws her on the couch.
He gets pissed, and he's like, "Jesus, Carrie, like I'm telling you, I'm watching this fight. You're literally like you're getting in the way of me watching a live fight right now, you know." And like he gave her very fair chances to be like, hey, I'm watching this, like chill out. Like you can wait an hour.
And it's so bad. And she just, when he lifts her off of him and sets her on the couch and is like, knock it the fuck off, she starts to leave. And he's like, why are you being so nuts right now? And she's like, maybe I'm not perfect. Maybe I don't fit into your perfect life and your perfect apartment with your perfect pay-per-view fight. Like, she just starts blasting off, and
welcome to projection.
Yeah, like there was no way he could have anticipated that. Like, I don't know. Anyways, and then here comes the audacity again. She walks outside the front door, and she waits 10 seconds for him to come chasing after her, and he doesn't. She gets home thinking that by the time she got home, he would have left an apology voicemail. He didn't. And I'm here like, what the fuck did he have to apologize for? Like, you were the one.
If this also boundaries. If this also doesn't show you like he doesn't fucking care about you, I don't know what would at this point.
You can care about somebody and not be in the mood right now and want your boundary respected.
Yeah, but you can also like explain yourself after. You can also just be like, you can call and just be like, yo, what the fuck was that? Like, we're not doing this. You just stormed off, you know, like you can explain why you're frustrated. You can say what's going on.
She could have too.
Of course she could have. But it's just kind of like, yeah, she's playing cat and mouse. This is ultimate cat. I'm leaving because I want to be chased.
And
she,
I feel like this was the first of many scenes like this. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Next scene, we have Samantha in her bed at home. And she's alone, and this was after her tantric celibacy course with the yoga instructor, and she's just like frustrated and horny. She wants to masturbate, but she ends up deciding not to because she's trying to give this tantric celibacy an actual shot,
like a fair shot.
She's trying to stick it out a little longer. Miss Trisexual. And next scene is Miranda in front of the Blockbuster. You know, she's on her
Drought. Yeah. Because in that first scene, we didn't mention it. In the first scene, she's like, what have I been doing? I've been buying fucking videotapes from the goddamn Blockbuster. Like, that's all she's been doing instead of fucking. She's been renting out every movie at Blockbuster.
Yep.
Which, I feel that. But, so she's there getting her next tape.
Yep. And she gets catcalled by a construction worker working across the street. And this guy's just shooting out compliments, but like, you know, those like sexual compliments that aren't actually compliments. And
a construction worker compliment, a construction worker catcalling, you know, that very
I got
typical.
What you want. I got what you need. And
also, I love how that's a trope. That's hilarious. Why is that a thing? Why is it always construction workers? Are they? That's just catcalling as part of the fucking employee handbook.
No,
you just learn little. You learn little phrases.
It's not. I got catcalled, even though I was on the construction crew.
Duh.
Fun times. But yeah, no, she ignores the construction guy and just like moves on. She's kind of pissed about it. And then we see Carrie at home and she's painting her kitchen cabinets. She decided to keep herself busy that way. Instead of calling Mr. Big, she's going to just take on a project, which honestly, it's probably the healthiest thing she's done like ever.
Yeah.
And then Miranda shows up at Carrie's apartment and Miranda's like, it's been 3 months and 1 week at this point. Carrie's like, it's been 2 days since Big called. So it's now 2 days after her whole pay-per-view.
They're like kind of, fight.
Pay-per-view fight.
Pay-per-view
fight.
So
she's just distraught. She says, I should have never farted. That was the problem. That's what ended this whole situation, which, like, that has you written all over it.
Hey, yeah, I was about to say, it was. The whole reason why, not that you're fucking crazy and have insane codependency issues, it's because you had an accidental emission. That's the reason why your relationship is doomed. Carrie.
And I'm here coming from Miranda's side. She's done. She's like, it's not the fucking fart. It is. I know it's not the fucking fart. And but then she actually opens up for the first time and is like, I think I'm in love with him. And I'm terrified he's going to leave me for not being perfect. That's raw.
It's also shocker that, okay, so now we know that Carrie's self-aware. At least she's not fucking delusional.
Yeah. And I gotta say, that's not love. That's
not at all.
If that's how you feel in your relationship, take a look at
You're
amazing. Don't let that be how you feel. You are perfect the way you are, dude. Like, don't fall into.
Well, no one's perfect. There's always room for improvement. However, you got to be comfortable with yourself to a certain level.
I can see that.
To be with someone. But yeah, no one is perfect.
This is a Hannah Montana, right? Over there.
Nobody's perfect. You live and you learn it again and again till we get it right. Nobody's perfect. I forgot the rest.
That's okay.
And I won't. I don't remember.
But you get the point.
I'll put it on one of the clips, or like I'm gonna put it on Instagram. That'll be the song for this episode.
But yeah, Carrie she wonders if he's never gonna call again. And
this next statement is so foreshadowing. It's crazy. Rewatching this episode, I was like, it was like a fucking bullet. I was like, oh. So not to have any spoilers, but what she says here is a little bit of foreshadowing on the whole Carrie Biggs situation.
Yeah, she says she's terrified she's going to see him in a wedding announcement where he marries this perfect little woman who never farts in his $500 sheets.
We're going to leave it there. And we're going to wait a couple seasons.
We'll scream about it together in the season. Yeah.
We'll get there.
So she's terrified of this, and that's so sad, dude.
You should never live in fear of your relationship for something as silly as that.
Something as silly as being yourself, dude. And Miranda.
Yeah. And by 34 years old, Carrie, come on.
You know? And Miranda asks Carrie when she got so obsessed with being perfect. And I feel like this next breakdown is what really sets it in stone for me. This is not love, dude. She said, Carrie says that when she's with him, she's not herself. She's together Carrie. She wears little outfits like sexy Carrie and casual Carrie, and sometimes she even catches herself posing. And she says it's exhausting.
So, side note, I did this once before, and this was an abusive scenario. And I realized what I was doing was trying to be perfect in hopes that that perfection would just make everything fall into
Problems,
place.
right?
Yeah. So it was like again, not trying to be a fucking hypocrite. It's like, but I understand Carrie. It's just like, I'm like, Carrie, girl, get together, learn your lessons. But no, I went through the exact same thing. You're like, I like the whole her saying, I even catch myself posing, and that was like, oh my god. I'm like, I've done that. Where I think you've mentioned it sometimes. You're like, you're so male gaze like dominated in the sense of like,
You
I
cater
feel
to
like,
the male gaze, and I'm not saying like
right,
like it's not like a problem. It's how you prefer to present yourself.
correct. But sometimes it can become too much, or sometimes you can lose yourself in the process of being someone else's ideal, or being viewed as like what they want. Not so much like perfection, but just like, I want to be my best self, to the point where like, of course they want me, so I get it. I've been there. I've done the like, I can even remember how tense my body would feel around the person, because I was like stiff. I'd be like, you can't fucking move an inch, you gotta look good, you gotta like,
right?
yeah, you got to be like a Barbie, like every move has to be perfect. Every angle, but I have to look good. And in reality, you're like, no, it doesn't even fucking read. It's just, you're just fucking crazy,
That sounds exhausting. Like everything you do and
It
say
was.
is wow.
It was. It was very exhausting. And it got me absolutely nowhere. It was all bullshit. It was all bullshit. It was all fuckery. And it's like, and you look back, and thankfully I was able to learn from it and move on. And that's a lesson that I'm glad that I learned. It's an unfortunate scenario, but if you're in situations like this, there's opportunity for growth. And I think that's important. I think man, woman, whoever, if you're in a position, like this, it's not okay. And you got to get in something, you got to love yourself, and you got to be in something healthy. But I mean, I'm all for being your best self. I'm all for putting your best self forward, but you can't lose yourself in the process. You have to let that person love you for your best self, and for your worst self sometimes too. But always working towards your best self will always get you further.
I agree.
So
love that. And yeah, no, speaking of that, Miranda asks Carrie, like, why doesn't she show him the real her? And Carrie says, what if he doesn't like me for who I am?
tough fucking titties, Carrie. Then you move on to the next one. Right? That's what happens. And it sucks, because you don't want to lose the person.
But if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You can't make a triangle fit into a square, dude.
But like what we said earlier, she like, she idolized this guy, and she's like, oh my god, it's everything I've ever wanted, and this and that. So it's like, of course she wants that more, and he's made it almost inattainable for her. So it can get so addicting. So I understand where she's coming from. I do, but it's not right.
But the conversation ends here because Miranda catches those two people fucking in the other apartment across
from earlier
Carrie's window. And so what do? They invite all the girls, and they all watch the couple having sex together. The four of them sit in that fucking window and are just eating the pound of gummy bears that Miranda got for free at Blockbuster while watching these people fuck.
Oh, she says that in the first episode too. She's like, I'm one tape away from getting a free pound of gummy bears. And so she got it. And this has the iconic still of the girls looking out the window, and they're tilting their head. Like, oh my god, what's happening right now?
And you.
So,
and the dialogue is just so funny here. You know, Miranda's getting after Samantha and is like, "What are you doing? You're fasting while people are out here starving." You know,
starving.
She's like, not
talking about sex.
She's like, "You're out here not having sex when you could be. When I'm out here trying to have sex and I can't. Like, what the fuck?" And Samantha's just, at least you can take care of yourself, because part of her tantric celibacy is that she can't even masturbate. And Miranda's just like, I can't even do that anymore either. I gave myself carpal tunnel. You know, she just...
Girl, use the rabbit.
I know, where's her rabbit? Like, come on.
What happened to the rabbit? You're telling me it just disappeared from 2 episodes ago? It broke?
And Charlotte's just here like, you know, her dude can't get it up. This dude's been erect for an hour. So she's just here like, how is this still hard? Well, she can't even say the word
Viagra.
hard. All the other women have to fill in that part for her. How
say it for her.
Hard.
It's Viagra, or is it, what's it called? Horny goat weed? It's that gas station.
Oh gosh.
Bullshit.
Gosh. Yeah, I've always been scared of those. But oh my gosh.
I'm like, I don't gotta fucking take him.
And then Samantha, somebody grabs the gummy bears from her. She snatches them back like an animal. And Carrie, like, maybe celibacy isn't for you. And Miranda. Okay, here's another one of those moments though with Miranda. I'm like, I see you. I'm seeing you right now. She says, if I make it to 4 months without sex, mind you, she's 3 months and 1 week, and if she doesn't have sex in the next 3 weeks, she tells them, I'm gonna hump one of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you go, and she's not gay?
Come on.
Are we not setting this up?
Anyways, Miranda's at the Blockbuster. She goes back to return her I was gonna say DVD, is probably VHS,
her
right?
tape. It's a VHS. That is a tape.
And here comes Mr. Construction Worker again. He says, I got what you want. I got what you need. Miranda's fucking done. She's done. She comes at him. She's like, you talking to me? And he's like, ooh, we got a live one. With the other guys. And she hits him with the, you got what I want. You got what I need. Well, I want is to get laid. What I need is to get laid. I need to get laid. And he's like, chill out, dude. I'm married. And she hits him back with the, what did she say again?
All talk, no action. What a cabone. She's like all, you know, because he's like a typical Italian, like New Yorker. So she hits him right back with it. Like, you're over here fucking calling my shit. Like, fuck yourself. You know,
like,
I'd be pissed. I'd be pissed too. I'm like, dude, you initiated.
Seriously, he's out here like, I got what you want. He's like, how would your fucking wife feel if she was like walking down New York City street and sees you fucking talking like that? Little shit. Anyways, fucking.
That word means like fucking low life. That's like like you fucking pissant. Like, how fucking dare you, you asshole. I would say the same. You motherfucker. I don't even, like, I'd be pissed. I'd be pissed. Honestly, though, because been there. I'm like, oh, you initiated, and then you're like, oh, I don't like you. I'm like, oh.
What is that? Like,
got it. Cool.
And then, like,
this was your idea.
And then, like, no explanation. Just
ridiculous.
But yeah. And then next scene, we have Samantha at yoga. And, oh, I love this scene. Sure. It's so good. She tries to channel her frustration into her yoga. And again, we have the yoga instructor putting his hands on her and stuff. And she straight up tells him, if you're not going to move those hands down, take them off of me. She's done. She's pissed.
Yeah.
And she hits her breaking point. She's like, I need to have sex. And so she looks to her right, and there's a guy, and she she doesn't say it very loud because they're in a quiet yoga class, but she mouths the word "wanna fuck." He's just like,
Yeah.
no, and then like stops making eye contact with her. He's like embarrassed. And then she looks to her left and she finds another guy and she's like, wanna fuck? Like, but she's just mouthing it. She's not actually.
She's
And
mouthing
then
it.
he's like,
Yeah.
what? Like, he doesn't understand what she's saying. And she just gets up and she says it louder. She's like, wanna fuck? And he's like, yeah. Like, fuck.
Where the whole class can
Yeah.
hear.
And the instructor watches her leave. And yeah, Samantha's done. She hit her point with that. And then next scene, we have.
And he looks so disappointed
Is that what that
too.
looked to you? That.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, you know."
I always took that look as like turned on by the fact that she was gonna go have sex. I don't know.
No, he was disappointed that she didn't. That she.
Huh.
Yeah.
I guess I just never thought about it. But yeah, no, she's done with this guy. She's like, I'm not getting it in. Never mind. I'm gonna go with this guy. And he's happy to have her.
I forgot what Carrie mentioned. She's like, and then she went on to have like 300 tantric. Oh, multiple yogasms. That's what it was. It was so cute.
And then, oh my gosh, we have Charlotte in the next scene. She's trying to give the dude that she's seeing a hand job, and you can just hear the like.
This is Mr. SSRI.
I'm on Prozac. There's no air in my tires.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's trying to give him a hand job because, you know, she doesn't give blowjobs. And nothing's happening. And then he even asks her to stop because he's chafing. Which I'm like, what's the look?
He's like, Charlotte, please, I'm starting to chafe.
I'm like, okay.
Like, use some lube. Come on, Charlotte. You got some in your night. Put some in your fucking nightstand.
But yeah, no, she asks if he's okay, and he's like, I'm fine. It's not happening. And then he asks if she's okay, and she's just kind of dodging it. And then she asks him, like, if he'll ever get off of Prozac, and he's like, nope. And she's not even for me. He's like, nope. Yeah,
bitch.
Just completely unbothered. And then he asks her, he's like, wouldn't you rather be with a guy who is kind and giving and not that interested in sex, rather than an unstable prick who's always just wanting to get laid? And I feel like this question that's presented to her right here is so reminiscent of the blowjob episode. Oh.
Yeah.
And she's kind of faced with the same question that the other guy was faced with. Because she asked the other guy, are you willing to give up the woman of your dreams for a blowjob? And he says, yes.
Yep.
And the guy asks her, are you willing to give up the man of your dreams for sex? And she's like, yeah. You know?
Yeah, because that's a requirement. Although Charlotte is our most reserved out of the girls, she still is a very sexual person, and that's something she requires.
And it's cute. I like the way that she ends this scene. She says, once she realized what she thought she didn't want, like, she couldn't imagine going on without it.
I just realized something. This is also foreshadowing for Charlotte.
Yeah, we got a lot of
I just realized that too. A lot of foreshadowing in this episode.
One last little note about Charlotte that I love personally. Like, little side note, I think Charlotte's a Capricorn. That's my personal belief. Fight me if you want to.
Me too.
My Venus is in Capricorn, and I relate to her sometimes on the decisions that she makes in her love life. And one of those is that she doesn't settle. She really doesn't. Like, the things that she wants, she's not willing to waver.
Compromise for.
And I appreciate that about her, because I truly think that that's how she was able to achieve her happy ending. But that's just a little side note.
I agree. I agree.
But then we have our last scene here. Carrie and Mr. Big. So we are at Carrie's apartment, and Mr. Big shows up as a surprise. And we also find out this is the first time he's ever been inside her house.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, they've been seeing each other now for like a while, and they were close enough to have all of this situation unfold, you know? And all of those nights that they spent cuddling and getting to know each other and be together like that, they did it all at Mr. Big's apartment.
Truthfully, it's probably the nicer apartment.
Yeah,
so.
but it's still a bit lopsided, you know? But anyways,
Yeah.
you know, she asks why he didn't call. And then he's like, why didn't you call? Neither of them called the other one. And I gotta be honest, if I was him and my partner had a temper tantrum like that and like ran out of the room, I would wait for the call too. But that's just me.
Yeah.
And she's honest with him. I do appreciate that she's honest. She says that, like, he asks her, what was that the other night? She's like, that was me having a meltdown.
Yeah.
That's the truth. And the situation just drops, and he looks out the window and sees the couple fucking, and he's like, we can do better than that. And then she has this
she does
of all of the things that were going wrong, all of the things that she wanted to talk to him about. It flashes through her head and you hear it, but he kisses her.
In typical Carrie Bradshaw fashion, in the past couple episodes, Mr. Big says one thing, and then she's like,
and then he
and falls into his arms.
The episode is done, curtains close, and I guess the problem is solved. Apparently, right? Like,
for Mr. Big and Carrie, this seems to be what happens. But yeah, no, we talk about this how many times now that this is the ending of the fucking episodes with them, with him just fucking pacifying her ass and her just being like, everything's perfect. Delulu Station. Like, she fucking lives there, man.
It's really...
It's crazy.
She had genuinely good points to be made, and she could have communicated how she's been feeling about her need to be perfect for him, and, you know, communicating that with him and asking him how he sees her even, and just like trying to connect with him on that level of like, do you like, what do you want from me? But not being so, I don't know. I feel like,
well, it's hard because the second you open up for that conversation, you know that it can go the way that you don't want. And that's why people avoid those conversations, because the second you go, oh, hey, I feel this way, they can easily be like, ooh, you're being a little too vulnerable for my liking. I don't feel like validating you. Get lost. And it's a very real thing. And that's why people who are, you know, low self-esteem, anxious attachments will just avoid it altogether, because they're like, I'm not having this conversation at risk of losing the partner that I so desperately want.
That's so upsetting.
It's the reality of these relationships.
Yeah, it really is. And, you know, each woman found themselves in a drought, and I guess only 2 of them found their way out of the drought, because Samantha and Carrie put an end to the situation that they were in. Right? It's just, she never gets fucked. So,
and at least not in this
maybe
episode.
She ends up pumping one of them. I don't know. And
we'll find
Carrie
out
just
next
gets
week.
Her pacifier. So she's
like always.
So yeah, they're really,
interesting episode.
I do like this. Like, my favorite part of this episode is the whole question of what is normal, and I think all of the answers we got. Samantha's is my favorite.
It's a very good perspective on it.
What you want and what you can get.
Yeah, because that's what it is. You're like, this is a reality, baby. That's all you get. You know, sometimes you don't get what you want. Sometimes you do. So deal with it. But yeah, it is a very interesting episode because it's not as like fun. It's definitely a little more chaotic. It's definitely a little more stressful than the rest of the episodes. There's not a lot of lightheartedness. It's a lot of tension. It's a lot of sexual tension. It's a lot of tension in relationships. It's like not only is this entitled like The Drought, but there's a lot of fucking tension that goes along with it.
Yeah.
So it's definitely more of like
Like a
a
angsty kind of
episode.
episode.
Yeah, it's a little more angsty. It's not as like fun. It's not as charismatic. Yes, there's funny
Yeah.
scenarios, but definitely a different one. But we start to see, you know, a little bit of toxicity and kind of all of the characters here.
Yeah.
So but yeah, obviously highlighted is Big and Carrie's relationship in this episode. And it's a good kind of step off, but you know, into the rest of their relationship. But also you'll see we are going to be ending season 1 next week, and when we get into season 2 you'll kind of see what's going on with this. So we're getting there and it's exciting. But yeah, so yeah, end of episode 11, The Drought. Next week is episode 12, which is the finale, titled "Oh Come All Ye Faithful." So we will see what that episode is about. The last episode of season 1. I cannot believe we're almost here. We've been saying it this whole time, and here we really are. So we are planning on doing this next episode next week live. We want to try it out. We want to just do a little interactive, you know, if people are willing to sit and talk with us about it, or you know, see what's going on. If we get one person, cool. If we get no people, whatever, then it'll just be a regular episode. But we want to open that opportunity up to the people who do watch, or new people. You know, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about the end. If you've been watching along with the series, and if this is your first time watching and you're like, oh wow, like we got through the season together, you know, awesome. If you've been rewatching, cool. So I am very excited and curious to see if people will tune in for this. So I will start when I post this episode out. I'll start, you know, saying the date and time and all that fun stuff.
And if
so
you have
we're gonna knock that out,
or things to add to the conversation, things you want us to talk about, we would love to have you come on and just let's get it out. It'd be a lot of fun to have you guys there.
Will not come on the episode, but in the comments. So
yeah. And just let us know what you think.
Yeah, we're very, very excited to wrap up season 1. It's definitely a cool sense of completion for us, to be able to say, oh yeah, we got through it 12 episodes in, you know. So but yeah, definitely excited for that. We'll see how that goes next week. I will get out dates and times. It will probably be next Tuesday, though. We're going to figure out the time. But we'll post that on our pages and everything and let you guys know. So we'll be excited for that. We hope anyone who wants to can tune in. So get ready. Watch the episodes. Maybe we'll watch a quick idea. Maybe we can watch it live. Like we can go through it live. Maybe we'll see. I was just kind of throwing ideas out there, but yeah, we do want Q&A style. If you are willing, ask questions. So I'm excited. Get excited. Let's do this. Let's knock out season 1, man. But yeah, so with that, thanks for tuning in for episode 11. We are so very thankful. Just a quick, also just little shout out here. Our last episode was our best episode to date, and that made me very happy. I don't know what it was that did it, but I just want to thank you guys so much, so much. That was really, really exciting to see, like, our best episode to date, you know, and it just made me happy, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's definitely a fun one, but we want to keep that energy. We want to keep whatever, you know, whatever that is, let us know. But yeah, so thanks from the bottom of our hearts for that really helped. I was like, oh, okay, people like that one. Awesome. You know, sometimes we need a little validation too, let's be real. But yeah, so thank you so much. We hope to continue to entertain you guys. So, but yeah, we will catch you guys next week live. So, very, very excited. So, we love you guys. Thank you so much for all of the support and everything thus far. Again, we will catch you guys live next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.